Hello and welcome to Wednesday Live with Evie, number 25. Today's topic is networking and your schedule. And today's topic came about from a question that somebody asked me when we were networking. She brought it up and we didn't have a lot of time to go into it. She says, you should do a Facebook Live. You should do, your Wednesday Live about this topic. So here we are. So if you have a question or something that you would like covered in these Wednesday Live with Evies, let me know. I would love to dive into your question. So feel free to comment below with those questions. If I have time, I'll jump into a couple of them at the end of today's broadcast, or I will cover it as a standalone later. And if you prefer it as a standalone, let me know. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Evie Burke. I work with entrepreneurs and I help them take their productivity to a new level. And if you haven't already signed up, I would love to invite you to sign up and join me for taking your productivity to a new level. It's a 4-week productivity mastery course. And if you are someone who is so busy running around with the day-to-day that the big goals aren't being met, you might not even know what those are anymore, then this might be a course for you to take a look at, something that you would be interested in. If you are tired of only having time to do the things of your business and you're not having time to spend with your family or spend doing the other things you like, summer's here. You want to spend time, doing some of those other things and not feeling like you're leaving your business as an ugly stepchild, then this is a good program for you to take advantage for you to jump into. We're really going to be spending time to lay that foundation about how you schedule your day. We're going to jump into how you stay focused and don't procrastinate. And with every class that we have, there's also going to be time for you to implement and ask me questions about what we're implementing that week. So if that sounds interesting to you, head over to the website, oneinsightcloser.com/TPNL. And I'm just going to head over to the Facebook page and reload this so that I can bring up this and include that link. So give me 1 second here. We've got it as a bullet point, but it's there. There it is. And I'm also going to share this. So while I am doing this, what I would love to know is, what are your questions around networking and scheduling networking and making sure that you have enough time to do the networking that you want to do, but that you also are getting the things in your business done. So what are your questions around that? What are your frustration or your struggles? And even if you're not here live, share what that is for you. Let's see, I'm going to share in a group. There we go. So, this might be a little bit shorter one today because I just have a couple of general tips and things to share around this. So, as you have any questions, feel free to post them below. So, one of we talked about this, or when I was sharing about what today's topic was going to be, I shared about either you might find yourself in one of two places. Either you might find yourself networking a lot, and so then it feels like the important things in your business aren't getting done, or anything in your business isn't getting done because you're so busy out there networking and spending time meeting new people and meeting potential clients and referral partners and all of that type of thing. And then the other part is, are you under networking? Are you not networking enough? Is your business not filled because you're not out there being seen enough? And how do we find that happy in between? So I also want to share, I did a Facebook Live on networking productively. That's number 19. So if you want to go back and watch that one of the things that I do want to touch on briefly here that I know was covered there is whether you're over networking or under networking, make sure that you're networking at the right places. So I like to share the story. I don't know where I heard it, but there was a lawyer, and the lawyer was frustrated with networking and believed networking did not work for him. And he was talking with somebody who was, extolling the benefits of networking, and he says, "Oh, that doesn't work for me. It's not a good place for me to be." And so they started talking about it, and the other person asked him, "Well, where are you networking?" And he said, "Oh, well, I go to industry conferences, where there's a lot of other lawyers around." And so the other person says, "Well, are other lawyers your ideal client?" And he says, "Well, no, I do personal law." And so there was a disconnect there, because networking where people who do what you do can be an important networking strategy if you can find referral partners. But he wasn't networking at the right place. He was networking somewhere where there were lots of other lawyers, as opposed to finding a group where they might need the type of mastery or the type of knowledge that he has about the law. He wasn't networking in those places. So whether you're over networking or under networking, make sure whatever networking you're doing is at a place that is a good fit for you. I think I shared this story too in number 19, but there was a financial advisor that I worked with, and she worked with women who were just coming out of a divorce. And so now they were responsible for all of their own financial details, where they had previously allowed their husbands, or just had their husbands doing it and didn't really worry about it, but now they're on their own, and maybe with kids, maybe not, but they had this new world of, how do I plan my financials? How do I invest? How do I make sure that my kids are taken care of? How do I pay for college? All of those things that might be coming up. And she was really frustrated because she was doing a lot of networking, but people don't stand up when they're networking and say, "Hey, I just got divorced last year." And so she couldn't really identify, who in the groups that she was talking to were people that were her ideal clients. And there were various divorce support groups, but she had been divorced for several years, like 20, 30 years at that point. And her ex-husband got along great, and that's a different story. So it wasn't appropriate for her to go to these divorce support groups and network there, because that wasn't true to where she was. She could go and speak there if they were looking for speakers, but it wasn't a place she could network. So she was really frustrated because she was networking so many places, but her business wasn't growing, and she was spending so much time networking that she just felt kind of at the end of her rope, right? So we started talking about it. And one of the things that we really delved into is who were her referral partners. And being very clear on who her referral partners were meant that she could shift the way that she was networking. So she was networking for referral partners rather than ideal clients. Still keeping the ideal clients in the back of her head, so as she's looking for speaking opportunities and things like that, she could go and reach out to the divorce groups, the divorce support groups, and look for opportunities there. But when networking and going to chamber events or other networking events, she could look for places where her referral partners were hanging out. And I share a little bit more about how to determine who are good referral partners in number 19. So, however, let's assume that the places that you want to network are good places for you to be. So let's talk about over networking. So you're networking so much that you realize that week you don't have a lot of time for your business. So how do you prevent that from happening in the future? Well, one of the things to do, and I'm sure you do this when you're adding a networking event to your calendar, is you look at your calendar, you look at your schedule, and you say, is this something that works for my schedule, or is it not? However, what you're probably doing is you're only looking at that day, at that time frame and seeing, okay, Wednesday at 1 o'clock, am I free? And if so, you say, yes, I can go to that networking event, and you go. But what I encourage you to do is just zoom out a little bit and look at the entire week. How does that entire week look? Are you already networking one or two places? If so, if you are networking one or two places, do you have time in your schedule where you are getting your work done? And can you fit in another networking event? Or can you decide that, this new networking event that's come up is a higher priority, so I'm going to decide not to go to this other event and, let that other event know. So, always change your RSVP if you can. If it's something that you paid for, then you just have to decide if you're going to absorb that cost or if you're going to honor that commitment. But especially in situations where there's limited seating, always let them know if you can't attend so that they can fill that seat with somebody who can be there. So the point here is make sure you're looking at the entire week when you're adding networking to your schedule, so you can see, oh, you know what, if I schedule a third networking event, based on the commitments I have and the other meetings that are in my schedule, I'm not going to get anything done. The other thing to keep in mind here is know yourself. So I am an introvert, and if I go to a networking event, or when I go to a networking event, it can really take a lot out of me. So I need a little bit of downtime after networking events before I can jump back into the work of my business. And that's fine. So I know that if I'm going to go to a networking event in the morning, my energy for the afternoon is not going to be something where I can do a lot of creative things. So I'm not going to be writing. I'm not going to be creating new programs. I might be responding to email or looking at Facebook or doing busy work in my business. Just, those little admin things that need to get done. It might be a good time to schedule those. So generally, I'll look at how do those networking events fit in my schedule given the amount of downtime I need after those. And I tend to prefer, because of that, I tend to prefer afternoon meetings, because then I can come home and I can have a little bit of downtime and then start dinner and go into my, be at home routine, or, if it's later in the afternoon, just go right into the be at home routine. And I have that whole morning or early afternoon to do the other things in my business and not have to worry about, am I going to have energy to complete them? So keep those things in mind when you're scheduling your networking events. I know that, sometimes we do a lot of traveling for our business, depending on your business. You might do a lot of traveling, or, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. But if you're a business that does a lot of traveling, if you know that traveling takes a lot out of you, or that you need just some downtime between things, make sure that you're working those into your schedule. I know a couple of months ago, I scheduled my whole Monday with things. And Monday is usually my day to be at home, to write my newsletter, get my Facebook Live, my Wednesday Lives with Evie's figured out, and, move a project forward a little bit. So those are my Mondays. Those are my work days and, the marketing of my business days. And there was an event that I wanted to go to that was in the morning. I had part of the afternoon free, and then I had an evening event. Well, the way that things were scheduled, if I would have come all the way home again, I only would have had maybe an hour and a half at home. So I decided instead to just go and stay and hang out at a coffee shop or a Panera while waiting for my different meetings for the next meeting to happen, so that I would have more time to do some work. However, it threw my week off, because I need those Mondays to myself to do planning, to do scheduling for myself. Usually I plan the week earlier, but I need that Monday to get some chunk of things done. And I learned that about myself, that doing that wasn't a good idea. So know that about yourself. Know which days are days you really just need to be home and not be out doing something else, and honor that. You know, yes, you can make exceptions, but know yourself. Know what works for you. Let's see. What else do I have here? I'm looking down at my notes. Prioritize your networking in your groups. So some groups are going to be better fits for you than others are. I know that some groups do a type of networking that works better for my personality than other types, or maybe personality isn't the right word. They work better for how I work. So my favorite networking events are not the ones where you mill about and you talk with people. I can do okay there. I know what needs to be happening at the group for those to be more successful for me. If it's, everybody's huddled around a bar area and you can't move around, I'm gonna want to get out of there. If it's in a space where there's a lot of space to move around and chat with people, then I'm gonna like those a lot more. So I don't like being like cramped in places. I like networking places where you have the opportunity to hear a little bit about what everybody is in the room is doing. I like networking where I'm going to learn something, so there's a speaker. So know what works for you. Know what makes you comfortable, but also know when it's time to, go a little outside your comfort zone. When it's time to push that a little bit and expand your networking. And recognize when you're networking or when you're at an event because it's a comfortable place to be, as opposed to it's somewhere that really does something for your business. So there was a group that I belonged to a few years ago where generally there was about 10 people in the room, and about 80% of them were there every single time. And it was great. I loved the women that attended. We were all friendly and we would catch up with each other, but it wasn't growing my business. We'd catch up with each other, but we weren't exchanging business in any way. It was just a friendly place to get together. So I let that one go because I didn't need to pay the membership fee for a group that provided me with friends. Does that make sense? So just know why you're going to groups, and especially if you're feeling a little time crunch, let go of the ones that aren't growing your business. It's not bad to go to ones that provide you with friendships and camaraderie, but if you're going to those, be very clear that those are what they are for you. So now, if you're networking, if you're not networking enough, if you're under networking and find yourself not having enough clients or not being full, then look for other networking opportunities. Look for what else is out there. Check out Meetup, check out chambers, and not just the chamber of the town you're in, but surrounding areas. When you go networking, ask people where else they're networking. Ask your clients where they're networking that's working for them. Basically ask questions. Look for those other places to network. However, you also want to look at how you are networking. So there's a group that I belong to that has a paid option where you can pay to be a member, or you can just pop in whenever you want to. And one of the things that one of the women who leads that group says is, if at the end of the year you haven't made your investment back, don't join for another year. And that's not bad advice. However, I think there's a caveat there. I think if you have been part of a group for a year and you haven't seen any business from it, you might also want to look at how you're networking and what you're doing. Are you in an industry where there are already, a dozen other people who do the exact same thing that you do? And as a coach, when I say that, a lot of people will be like, oh, well, there's a lot of places that you network, Evie, where there's a lot of other coaches. Yes, that's absolutely true. However, each of those coaches has their own different niche. There's coaches that focus primarily on marketing. There's coaches that focus primarily on personal development. And even in personal development, there's so many different avenues. So I can go and I can network where, there's 3, 4, 5, half a dozen, whatever other coaches, and we're not competing because we have different clients. However, if you're someone who is selling weight loss and you're selling a meal replacement, are there already 12 other companies there that sell that? Is there something that sets you apart? Know those things. Take a look at how you're networking. Are you connecting with people? Are you reaching out and having one-on-ones with people outside of the meetings? Are you noticing when people are curious or interested about what you're doing, and are you reaching out to them? What cues are you picking up on or looking for other people, and are you asking, questions, and are you continuing the conversation past the, oh great, I'm glad you were interested in that. Are you finding out more about them? So basically, do you continue the conversation or do you leave it? So if a networking group is not working for you, and you've given it enough time, then look at how you're networking and, reach out to me, reach out to the leaders of the group, and maybe ask for some suggestions or some advice. I'm sure the leaders would generally be happy to help you or be able to point you in the right direction. If you just need a couple of pointers, reach out to me. I'm happy to help you. All right, so productivity and, your networking and your schedule. So just to wrap this up here, what I want to say is make sure you're checking your schedule. Make sure that you're scheduling things for the right way you work, and you're allowing yourself time to get things done. So know what works for you. And if you need some help with that, that's something that we can cover in the upcoming course that I'm offering in the Q&A. We'll have some time for Q&A too in the class and in the Facebook group that will be for those. So if this is something you need some more help with, and you are looking for how to set your schedule up in a way that lets you easily look at it and know what you have time for that week and what you don't have time for, and whether it's this week or in 2 weeks, then again, take your productivity to a new level might be something that you should explore. So I invite you to check out that link and take a look at it. If you have any questions about it, let me know. I'm happy to answer your questions, and I would love to have you part of this program. I'm super excited about it, and there is something special going out tomorrow for those who are in the program. You'll still get it if you sign up later, but you'll have more time to work on it if you sign up soon. So I hope you have a fabulous day. I will see you next week. And until then, much love. Bye.